Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Yoder, and welcome to the Joshua Yoder Show. Today, I'm here to talk about a very special occasion that's coming up here soon. Returning is my friend and mentor, Brian Carson, who's here to talk about his future project. What's up, Carson?
Hey, Josh, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for having me on.
I'm doing well, especially that you're back here, and we're getting closer. Well, at least at the time of this recording, it's going to be Halloween time. It's coming to an end.
Yeah, I have to do my Halloween tradition here coming up.
Oh, what tradition is that, dare I ask?
It's nerdy. It's very much for horror film nerds. I watch Christopher Lee, the Hammer films, the Hammer Dracula films,
Oh, good ones.
all seven of them on Halloween from start to finish.
Nice.
Yeah.
I must say, God rest his soul. Christopher Lee is an incredible actor.
Yeah. How many 98-year-old guys do a heavy metal album, huh?
Now, speaking of heavy metal, can you believe it's been 15 years since James Dio passed away?
Yeah. I have a heavy heart anyway because of just this is just recently Ace Frehley passing away.
Oh, yes, that's right.
I
That
was
was
a kid. I was a Kiss fanatic as a kid. I was in the Kiss Army. I had the Kiss action figures. Every Halloween, I would dress up as I would alternate. Every Halloween, I'd dress up as one of the Kiss guys.
nice. No, he surely would be missed. But then at the same time, though, it's, trying to be appreciative and thankful for what you have. Like, a lot of these guys are getting older.
Yeah, we all are. Unfortunately, can't do anything about that.
Indeed. Indeed. But let's get right to the nitty gritty of why you're back here on the show. You're getting ready to publish a new book here, Carson.
Yeah, I'm. I guess I decided. Most people don't know. Many years ago, 2014, I wrote a book on marketing for small
Okay.
business, for small businesses, and I enjoyed the process. Actually, people say they hate it. I enjoyed the process, but then I let it go because of the journalism that we do, you and I, and the sports and that. But I've decided, ever since my illness, I've had a lot of free time. So I've been writing. I wrote a book of short stories, science fiction / horror, that are done. I'm going to get them published. I'm waiting on the book cover to be designed. And I'm going to publish them. And I'm also writing, I've gone through 10 chapters already of a horror novel, a complete novel.
Nice.
And it's a little bit different. It's about set in World War II, a German concentration camp. I made it up. I didn't want to use real things to, offend the Jewish people and what happened to them.
Right. Of course. Of course.
So I used this fictional guy. I came up with the name Ravensfeld. And this concentration camp, Ravensfeld, one of the people they take out of the ghettos is a guy named Marek Novak. And the twist is he's a vampire.
Ooh.
And he's given up. He's lived so long he can't stand it anymore. So he let them take him. But when he sees what goes on in the camp, he becomes pretty much an anti-hero, an avenging angel to the prisoners.
That's a pretty cool concept. What'd you say the book is called, Carson?
The Angel of Ravensfeld.
Nice, man. And then how many more chapters do you think you'll have for this book?
I have it outlined at 22 chapters. I've done 10.
Nice.
When it's done, it's going to be pretty hefty. It's going to be about 400-page book, probably.
Wow. That'll give people plenty of time to read and relax.
Yeah, it was like we were watching TV, and my wife's really into the historical dramas.
No, that's right.
And we watched a true story of in the concentration camps in Poland. I think it was Treblinka, but and then what the Jews went through was absolutely sickening. And I thought it just popped into my head like out of nowhere. You know how sometimes ideas, Josh, just pop into your head.
Absolutely.
And I went, I wonder what the hell would happen to these SOBs if there was a vampire in the camp and just start wiping them out.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, was Christopher Lee's version of Dracula an inspiration for your character design?
It was a combination of that. Yes, he always will be. But it's also a combination of Let the Right One In. Remember the kid?
Yeah, I remember.
Where she really didn't want to be it, but she is. So it's sort of like that. I mean, he's not wearing a cape or anything. Ravensfeld is in the middle of winter, and it's snowy and overcast all the time, so he can go out in the day. He just can't hit direct sunlight. And basically, the story revolves around him and this German doctor who experiments on the Jews. And he notices something different about this guy, his blood and that. And, you know, the back and forth.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. And then honestly, that's actually a cool concept too. That when you mentioned that about like him trying to avoid the sunlight, because that seems to be like a common theme that you don't see many vampires do anymore, is trying to avoid sunlight.
No, because I have him in the daylight when it's cloudy and that stuff and snowy. Because if you ever read the original I don't know where the sun came in to the movies of killing him, vampires, but in the actual Dracula novel, he goes out in the daylight.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's just he's weaker. He's not as strong as he is at night, but he could go out in the daylight. And it's the same with this guy, unless he gets hit with direct sunlight and then it's too much.
Yeah, I wonder when that actually started and all
I don't know. I don't know.
I'll have to go look that up. But let's get to the short stories you had put together. You said it was a sci-fi and horror or genre, a collection of short stories. What's the name of that book?
Oh geez. Look, I don't remember the name of my own book. Wait, let me look real quick. I got it here. That's embarrassing.
You got a lot going on, Carson. It's understandable.
No, but I can't believe I didn't it's my book. How do you forget the title? There's 10 short stories. This is short, excuse me. Short stories. It's called Echoes from the Vale.
Nice. Says, what was the inspiration behind these stories?
Oh, I'm gonna tell you right away. Two guys, actually three, that I've loved their stuff for a long time. These younger people might not know who they are, but do you know Ray Bradbury?
That actually does sound a little familiar.
Ray Bradbury, some of his stuff that were sci-fi that were turned into movies is Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, Something Wicked This Way Comes, The Martian Chronicles. And it's basically my tribute to him. Now, this one I know if you didn't hear him, I'm not going to hold it against you. Most people haven't. You ever heard of Nigel Neal?
I feel like I have actually, but I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Can you name some?
Nigel Neal was actually a writer for the BBC.
All
And
right.
he wrote television movies. And his most famous was the Quatermass series. They did three movies of it. I love them all. He also did the Stone Tape, basically a sci-fi. His works were basically sci-fi. And then the other one was Richard Matheson, who needs no introduction. He wrote I Am Legend.
Yes, I remember that.
He wrote The Legend of Hell House. He wrote the script for the Night Stalker TV movie. And he was the horror genre. So it was like a tribute to all three of those writers who I read so much and enjoyed. So some of the novels horror, some of it sci-fi. There's 10 stories in it in the novel.
No, that's awesome. And to be fair though, isn't a lot of stories that we like and we want to create somehow inspired or tribute to people that we liked reading about or watching as kids?
Absolutely. Look, Picasso said that too. There's nothing original. Nothing.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's a lot of stuff that's
He said, great artists. Good artists copy, great artists steal. And what he meant was you put your own stuff to it, but like you steal styles, how you want to write or how you want to paint, but you make it your own. The bad ones just copy what the person did, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like perfect example. Like you may like gothic, but you prefer to write more comedy, or you like horror, but you maybe prefer a little bit more action. It's there's there's different ways to go about, different genres and all that stuff.
Well, I liked Neil and Bradbury because their sci-fi made you think. It wasn't just like eye candy, it made you think.
Well, yeah, no, and I think that's important though too in any kind of storytelling, especially if it's done correctly. Like a lot of times when people write stuff, they just shove like an opinion down on something, or it's like, well, yeah, sure, that may be true, but like, how do we go to fixing it, or how do we try to improve upon it? You know what I mean?
And with my novel, like I said, I wanted to respect the Holocaust and everything the Jewish people went through. So there's some violence, but most of it's implied. You hear about it, you don't see it.
Yeah, but isn't it that like makes it more eerie though?
Yeah,
Not knowing.
I tried to make it like so far like it's in the dialogue. Like when Dr. Elsner experiments with people. In his ledger, he just treats them like it's nothing. Like they're a name, a subject, move on.
Yeah, which if you look at a lot of good villains, those are usually the ones that how they act. They have no emotion, no empathy for anything.
And I also wanted to come from a point. I grew up on horror that scared you, at least when I was a kid, but it wasn't overly graphic.
Yeah, no, I want to talk about that for a minute. Like, I find it interesting that a lot of these newer horror movies think like, oh, you just got to have nothing but blood and guts everywhere, and then that's scary. And I'm like, dude, most of the scariest stuff are the ones you can't understand or fathom.
Right. Like the old gothic horror ones. You
Yeah.
don't you don't see the fear, but it's there.
Well, yeah. And it's,
Maybe you'll get the reveal at the very end, but not through the movie. Like mine might be the only horror novel modern when it comes out that it does not have grotesque violence and has no sex at all in the book. None.
yeah, like there's more. It's almost like, I don't know if I should say this because I love B movies, but it's almost like these people think like, oh well, they have like a B movie mentality, like, oh, we can just throw a bunch of money and just do all this, and it would just make a ton of money. Well, it
Yeah.
doesn't always work out that way.
And also the premise didn't make sense. I'm writing about a concentration camp. You know,
Right.
why would sex even come in it?
I think they got more important things to worry about right now.
No, the only gore violence is at the end. I have the end planned out where he plans to like just wipe out the camp of the Germans.
Well, to be honest with you though, it makes more sense too because this sounds like something like it would make more sense to have like a slow build,
It
and then
is.
eventually he just goes nuts.
That's a good point. It's a slow build, and then bam.
Yeah, but see, but I feel like that's kind of a lost art anymore. Like, I mean, yeah, sometimes you have to hit them hard and hit them fast throughout the movie, but sometimes it's nice to just build into it, especially if you want to try to build characters you can relate to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, going back a bit to your short stories and all that, are these like separate stories or do they all intertwine?
No, they're separate. I just wanted to put them in a book form for people to read and go through. There's some that are pure sci-fi, pure horror, some that are a mixture of sci-fi and horror.
Nice, nice, and please keep us updated. And what's the name of that collection of stories, again, Carson?
I just forgot and I gave it to you, didn't I? The Vale of Echoes or something like that.
Yeah, Echoes Up from the Veil.
Echoes from the Vale. It's
Yeah.
basically the title came, Echoes from the Vale came from two of the short stories. I basically, it fit. So I that used that as the title.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking of one of your inspirations, I just now discovered that Bradbury. It's been a little over 10 years now since he passed away.
Yeah.
Increase.
I loved his advice on writing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
what was his
He said,
advice?
write a short story every week because it's impossible to have 52 straight bad short stories.
No, that's just really good.
One
That's
of them,
really
one or two of them, even if it's only one or two, will be good.
well. Yeah, it's the repetition of things. You know, maybe there's some of the bad ones could then later become good ones. Like you
Yeah,
find inspiration somewhere and then make it into something else.
that's what he would do. When he
Hey,
was
that
start
works.
when he was starting out, he would write a short story every week.
Hey, that works. Works, and honestly, I think it's important to do that because even if it's something that you're not finding, maybe a character that you liked in it could be moved to another character. Like I didn't realize this. Some of my favorite anime, a lot of people had similar characters and other stuff they had written, and they're like, "Well, I think I like this character more in this world that I'm creating." You know?
Yeah, well, a lot of people, it's hard to write a novel. It is, and a lot of people don't have that focus to do it. And short stories are better. You only need a short amount of time to focus, and And he recommended that everybody, before they become an author, write short stories. Even Stephen King did that.
Yeah, and he, needless to say, there's a lot of things he's written. I'm like, dude, do you see therapy?
His stories aren't short anymore, are they? But yeah, and I just think, well, I mean, I guess you could crank out a novel now with AI, but it'll look and sound like shit.
Honestly, I don't understand why people are
But
so
I
they're
don't
so
either.
they're
I
so
don't.
dependent on AI. I don't know why.
To
I
me,
mean, for me,
if
I just think
if
it's
you
odd.
if
Oh,
you
sorry.
read it, it sounds so formula and robotic.
Yeah, like it's one thing to me, and this is just my humble opinion. Like it's one thing if the AI is there to assist you, that's fine. But these are people that are like totally dependent on and be like, oh yeah, I'm a writer. I'm just gonna make AI do everything. I'm like, that's not writing because one, it's not you, it's the robot.
Yeah, and if one thing it's taken away, I'm not anti AI for certain things. But as far as writing, it's taking away creativity and your own brain, your thoughts. I mean, people are getting too lazy to even think anymore for themselves.
Yeah, no, that is it's a sad reality of it too. And it's like it's weird, like and you can't even question anything anymore either, too. Like somebody does something, I'm like, well, why can't we just do this? And then as soon as you question something, even if it's just like a nice, simple question, that's like you just get looked down upon.
Yeah, I mean, I think since we were on this track, AI is good for research, way better than Google. I've actually for my stories in the newspaper and that I'll use it to research to get me some research. For if like I'm writing local government stuff and don't understand it, I want what I'm covering. I'll get research. It's good for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, like before, like I think AI is better to be the assistant, not the driving force of things.
Yeah,
And
anything creative has to be you.
do you
If
feel
you're
like
gonna if you're gonna let a machine do it, it's gonna sound like a freaking machine.
yeah, not to mention too, like what's wrong with having an imagination or like just like to think? You know what I mean?
Well, ask Edison about that or Einstein. They thought imagination was more important than knowledge.
Yeah, and these guys are super geniuses, especially
Yes.
Edison. I mean, Einstein. Sorry.
No, I mean, yeah, it's like I agree with them 1,000%.
Me too. But it just I don't know. It just AI is just I don't know, man. It's and in fact, actually, one of our previous conversations we had offline, I think didn't you mention that someone like was up for an award only to find out like the whole story was completely AI?
Uh, Parts of the story, not
Uh,
the whole parts.
okay.
It was about, I think they said like 39, 40% AI.
Jeez, even still, that's a little much, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. It should be for research. Here's how I would use it. I don't, but here's how for writing, I would never do it. I work too long and too hard to be good at what I do. I would
Absolutely.
use it. I would use it if I was writing a novel and I was stuck on where I wanted it to go. I would ask the AI, what do you think is the best way for me to go? And not write it for me, but what do you think is the best way for me to go? And write what direction to go in.
Well, yeah, it kind of goes back to what we said before. Like, what would say like some of our favorite writers that inspire us would do. And then, okay, we'll go that direction, but give it our own little twist to it.
Yeah, you got to write it yourself. And the problem is, they like, well, I'll give you an example that's really bad. The AI, now they have these AI detectors that they say to catch AI. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me tell you how accurate they are. Because I wanted to see for myself.
All right.
I wrote something, a sports thing. I just took one back in 2018. Okay.
Okay.
That was 4 years before Chat GPT even came out.
Yeah.
One of these so-called 100% accurate, AI detectors. Now remember, Josh, remember the context of it.
Of course.
I put it in to the AI. Hold on a second.
Yep, no problem.
So I put it in. Now remember, 2018. It said it was AI, 100%.
What?
How could it be 100% AI when it was written 4 years before Chat GPT came out?
Holy moly. It kind of makes you wonder what they've been doing with AI.
Exactly. That's how accurate these things are, too.
Jeez.
They talk about this, oh, we're going to 100%. We're going to 100% stop AI. But
we're going to use AI to do it.
yeah, sorry, I'm being distracted by my wife. She wants me to find or remove it. Yeah. So how accurate are they really? If something I wrote from 2018, it said was like 91% AI when it was 0% AI.
It makes you wonder about a lot of that stuff, don't it?
Yeah. Makes me wonder that they can't detect real AI at all. They'll just say it is.
Not to get into like some paranoid schizophrenia, but I feel like with all this AI talk, it kind of makes me feel like it's only a matter of time before they create Skynet.
Never
I
know,
mean,
buddy.
yeah,
But I think it's gonna be a bad time for journalists
I think it's already a bad time for journalists
coming
now.
up. Because the New York Times already admitted that 30% of their articles are AI generated.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they don't deny it.
Jeez.
Their major pieces aren't, but the smaller articles are 30% AI
Jeez.
because they need less of a workforce.
Well, it's kind of sad though too, because and this is just my humble opinion. A lot of not all of them, but a lot of journalism nowadays is just more of an opinion. It's not actual journalism.
Don't get me started on that.
I won't.
A lot of modern journalists today, everybody says I'm too harsh. They suck.
Well, it's not so much like you being harsh. It's just people don't realize like some of the stuff that these people are doing, and a lot of not all of them, but a lot of these so-called journalists are just trying to get famous off other people. whether or not a lot of stuff they're saying is accurate, you know? And plus, there's a lot of things too that, that I feel like should be reported, but for some weird reason are not being reported.
True, but my complaints are on the technical side. They I started back in the day, Josh, before internet,
Yeah, absolutely.
before email, before you could send from anywhere. You had to go. You had to make deadline no matter where you were on the road or whatever. You had to call to get scores. Today, these sports writers and that are bone ass lazy.
Well, yeah, like even when I started, and even by the time, like I always thought it was weird, like you got to call people or they'll call in or send you emails, but we would still go out and do things. Like if there was something there, you went and tried to do a little something out of it. And even if you only could get like, I'm just throwing out a number, say like 300 words out of it, you could just write that and then like get a follow up story with more information about it later. Like there's multiple ways to like bring in news.
Today, because of social media and X, the sports writers don't want to actually write a real story with meat. It's like 300 words. Get it out as quick as possible. I'm done.
Yeah,
Never mind creating a story.
yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. Like even like when I'm doing stuff with with here with hometown, like I don't always get quotes, because I just like to write on the story. But even without the quotes, I'm getting like 500 words. Like like I'm with you. Like you got to throw like 200, like 300 words, stories, and it's like that's not really a story, and most of it's just stuff that anybody could really just come up with.
There's a key story. You got to tell a story. It isn't just regurgitating facts.
Yeah, exactly. Like for example, like I was covering a football game, and I was like, "Wow, they did really well." Oh, but here's a major factor that nobody wants to talk about. They were able to gain more yards, say, on the ground in the first half than they did in the second half. Like you can mention their stats like that. You're like, hey, they did so well in the first half, but then the other team's defense stepped it up and held them down to like a lot less yardage in the second half than they did in the first half.
Well, like I don't know. Did you read my District 6 track?
The PIAA championship one?
The one for districts this past weekend.
No, I didn't see it because the hometown website was down.
I put on, I described the start, Carter Smith's start.
Yeah.
With his arms out, his foot toe in the grass, ready to go with the starter's pistol.
Yeah.
That was my imagination. I wasn't there. But I know what cross-country runners do.
Yeah, and that's all you need sometimes.
It made more drama into the story about his intense look, waiting for the gun to start, and how he ran. And, it's missing. They just regurgitating facts. This is this, this is this, this is what this would happen here. But they're not, you know what I mean? They're not telling a story.
No, I totally get what you're saying. I totally agree too. It's almost like, as weird as this may sound, it almost sounds like they're AI, except they're human.
Right. Exactly. There's no depth to it.
No depth. Yeah, and if you don't mind me asking too, do you think sometimes like I don't know if this is like the right way to say it, but do you think sometimes like a lot of these new journalisms that come out, they're just trying to do something and then hopefully make it to like the bigger times? They're just more worried about putting something out there just to have like a resume.
Yeah, but they won't. They won't make it with putting out junk like that.
Well, plus too, like I said before, a lot of journalism isn't real journalism anymore.
I mean, I'm just speaking of sports. there's some, thank God, that still know how to do it right. And one of them is, do you ever read Wright Thompson at ESPN?
No, I have not actually.
Amazing writer. Really, really good writer. He
I have to,
he tells a story.
yeah, and that's another thing too. Like you talk about the importance of telling a story. Like I said before, like the stats, like like how the first half the team seemed to be really good on offense, but then like in the second half they just stalled. Well, why was that? Well, probably because say the defense put more pressure. Like there's facts that need to be mentioned, but they, like you said, they just want to be a robot.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I just it frustrates me sometimes when I see it. It's like, come on, just apply a little more energy and a little more elbow grease, and you'll get noticed. You keep doing what you're doing, you're just like every other modern writer today.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I don't I don't know. Do you think it's just because we're too reliant on like AI and technology?
Yes. Yes. There's a
Like
difference. There's a difference. Back to the AI. AI spits out information. It's a machine. It doesn't think. We have that power.
yeah, not only doesn't it think, we make it think. You know what I mean? We just type in what we think it should say.
Right.
It's still technically us, but it's just, made like canned processed like, with the AI.
Yeah, it's spam. Like
Yeah,
canned spam.
that's a good one right there. But yeah, no, I don't know. I'm with you. I think AI is kind of like some of the worst thing that's happened, like at least for like our line of work as like writers.
But I predict it's going to take jobs because journalism today is so low quality that the editors and owners of the newspaper will have that so they don't have to pay writers.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm surprised we don't see more AI taking jobs already. And like besides writers, like teachers, it just seems like everyone's just kicking humans off the curb.
Give it time.
I'm not really looking forward to it if I'm being honest.
They've already have a new AI out that I read this that can diagnose illnesses better than doctors.
I shouldn't laugh, but it's just the truth, though.
Hell yeah.
It's almost like you ever get that feeling, Carson? Because we both love sci-fi. You ever get that feeling like you see how like they have these scanners and they're like looking to like figure out where the target to fix the wounds at? That's what it feels like right now.
It could be. You never know.
Like, do you remember? I don't know if this is Star Trek, but you know how they like like lay in a bed and you see like these lasers go through them as
Yeah.
like that's what it feels like.
Oh, yeah. He's got a brain tumor. Let's get that out right now.
Well, heck, I think there a commercial where like they were talking about like cancer and stuff, and they found like this laser that doesn't hurt, and they just shine it and they get rid of the cancerous spot.
Yeah.
Man, like, but I don't know. I was like, how are we going to replace though the human element of things? Because I feel like it's important to have, which is rich coming from me because I live a sheltered life. I'm not afraid to admit it, but it's like, whatever happened to actual human contact?
Eh, it's going by the wayside now. I mean, isn't it funny we call it social media when you're not actually face to face? I mean, you're in a computer.
Yeah, like I feel it's weird. Like, and it's getting kind of it's getting kind of creepy in my mind. I remember going for a walk with my twin brother, and cars are going by us. They're not even paying attention to the road. They're looking at their phones, and we're like, "Really? Like, is your phone that important that you can't focus on driving?"
I had a person once walk right out in front of me I'm driving, walked right out in front of me on her phone, not even looking. Thank God I had good brakes, or she'd have been a wet spot on the road.
Yeah, and the worst, I mean, don't want to be tragic, but the sad part is people will probably be mad at you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, check the person that had the phone. Like, there's people that are like, I don't know, man. I just technology, I feel like can be a good thing, but as of right now, it doesn't seem like it's looking too bright right now.
No, it isn't. It could be good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think there's good and bad in everything, but I don't know. Right now, it seems like the bad's outweighing the good.
It can, yes.
But speaking of human writers, we were talking about this, before we went on the air, Carson. But a guy that is an inspiration to me in my writing is Frank Miller,
Yes.
and we were
Great.
just talking. What's that?
I said great writer.
No, absolutely, and artist. He was overall he's just very creative guy, drawing, writing, whatever. Or he. For those of you who may not know, he's famous for he's part of the reasons why I'm a fan of Gothic, you know, stuff like Sin City, and of course Daredevil, who's probably my favorite comic book character. Just the whole dark, gritty world that he creates, but yet somehow in a weird way, there's something beautiful in it.
Yeah, and he's one of the few guys that turned around two classic characters. Daredevil was dead in the water as a comic book, and he just completely changed it. And the same thing with Batman. The whole Dark Knight stuff is Frank Miller's.
Yeah, and absolutely. And Sin City was I mean, I was born in the '90s, so I kind of was aware of him because of Daredevil, but it was really Sin City that caught my attention with him. So some good stories right there.
Gotta love Marv.
I mean, did you enjoy the movie that came out 20 years ago?
Yeah.
I love Great movie. And actually, speaking of kind of like your book, it was a collection of stories they put together for that movie.
Yeah. Sin Cities are awesomely drawn, awesomely written. The Dark Knight's where I think was his masterpiece. He
Well,
did what should have been done. He made Batman a dark anti-hero, and he took Robin completely out of the picture. Why would a brooding billionaire out for justice want to keep a little teenage sidekick? No. I love that he's decided that no, there's not going to be any Robin in my Batman.
Yeah, and it turned out great. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the Robin character in Nightwing. I'm a little biased towards them, but I totally get why though he chose to go that route. And it worked. It worked perfection.
Yeah.
And I will say though, I'm a big fan of Daredevil because of him, because I love the whole concept of using like faith as like a good thing, and like trying to like understand the world that we live in, and just trying to make people better, and anybody, like all walks of life, like better lives, and try to find like meaning in things, and like peace, and salvation. I really loved how he did that.
Yep. And the Daredevil with the whole bringing in Elektra and Bullseye. and Kingpin.
I dare say Daredevil and Bullseye is a very underrated rivalry in comic books, in my humble opinion.
It was a good one. Uh, and of course, the Elektra story, everybody like went nuts over that.
Well, I think what made that special, at least in my humble opinion, is that a lot of us, myself included, could relate to like Daredevil, feeling like, oh wow, like could anybody really understand me? And then here's this another character, Elektra, who not only understands him but accepts him for who he is and betters him, and which a lot of us, myself included, don't feel like we could ever find someone like that in our lives. And then the fact that she was, killed by some deranged guy named Bullseye, it hurt. It really did hurt.
Well, that's what he was going for.
Yeah, and it worked, and then that's because it's like a lot of us, don't feel like we could ever find someone like that in our real lives. And here's a guy that had it and then lost it. Really, just Born Again was probably. I still think it's considered, the greatest Daredevil story ever.
It's up there, yeah. But
That's
I don't know. There was you could read a lot of influences him. I think he read a lot of those. My opinion, I think he read a lot of those like, um, what did they call them? Pulp fiction novels.
yeah,
like
he was
Mike, like the detective ones, like Mike Hammer, and things like that.
Yeah, he was big into like the film noir, ninja movies, like martial arts stuff. That's kind of similar to me. Like I kind of like the gothic stuff, the martial arts and sci-fi ish. You could definitely see that. I mean, you could see it in his Batman run as well, and definitely you can see it in Sin City.
Yeah.
But one of the things, what made me bring him back up with us was that you had told me that he was coming out with a book talking about his creative process as a writer and a drawer.
Yeah, he's got. I don't know the title yet. It's not being. You can pre-order it soon, but I'm gonna get it. He talks about his creative process, writing and drawing, and that'll be interesting to, you know, pick his brain on paper. I'm more interested in the writing part, obviously.
Yeah, no, I definitely am more interested in the writing process myself, even though I do like art and drawing and painting. So just the whole idea of like how he went through it, I'm just like, man, he's incredible. I can't wait for that book to come out and see it for myself because, I mean, you want to talk about people not being around much longer. He's up there in age as well.
Yeah, he's been doing it a long time.
Well, let me ask you this, Carson. Do you prefer his Batman or do you prefer him as Daredevil?
Batman.
For me, I'd go Daredevil.
He made Batman so dark and gritty. I loved it.
No, man, I mean it's amazing work. Like, and for a guy to just, and I didn't know this until I watched like a little documentary series about him on G4. He talked about he apparently was helping out with RoboCop movies. I didn't know.
Yeah. I heard that too.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And he said like it was a frustrating process for him because it seemed like no matter what he does, they weren't going to put it in. So it's like he decided to just say screw it and I'll write Sin City.
Good thing he did.
Yeah. Yes, he did, and it was amazing. Like it still is amazing. Like I think people when they read like dark gritty stories like we do, I think sometimes it gets misinterpreted. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Well, and to be fair though, I think what makes it easier for us to like read that stuff is because it feels like that's how we live our lives. Like if we go outside in the world, it's like, well, there's not much here. It's kind of dark and gritty, so it's like relatable to us.
I just like stories, good stories. It doesn't matter what they are, as long as they're well written and they captivate me. I I really don't care what genre it is.
No, I'm with you on that. And like, it's just I'll just use comic books for example. Like I could like read like dark gritty stuff like say of Batman or Daredevil. And I would even say I'll throw the Crow and the Punisher in there as well. But I also find enjoyment of like reading, the comic books like Captain America or Superman. I don't see like you said, as long as it's a good story, I don't care really what, how you go about it. I think there's multiple ways you can make a good story about it.
Absolutely, positively, yes. And it depends on the talent of the writer. You could take the same subject and a really good storyteller is going to make it pop. Where the other one, it's just
You there, Carson?
yeah. Did I
Oh,
fade out?
yeah, I thought you faded out of there a little bit. What were you saying?
No, I'm just saying. You take the same idea of a story in a good storyteller, it'll make it pop. And where an average one, it'll be average. It's
Yeah, and also too, I think, and this is going to be a weird comparison, but like take video games for example. Like you can have like the concept, can be spot on, great. Once what's oh man, I'm trying to think. One such example I would have to give like say the Metal Gear series. That
yeah,
that was a good series, and it's like all these different things happening at once, and also too like sometimes like you can have a good thing, but it doesn't always work in different situations. Like I don't know if you ever heard of the Assassin's Creed games,
yeah.
where like it's the same concept. You go through the Animus and like you go to a different time period. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just depending on the characters and how it's written.
I've never read them, so
Well, they're a video game series.
I knew they were video games. I didn't know if they were in a comic book form or something like that.
Well, actually, some of them did become like little books. Like I know, the Halo series became like little books, like people explaining, like some of the things that the video games might have missed, or didn't explain.
Well, I don't know. I guess sometimes you look at video games and don't think about the stories, but there is some good ones. I always like the Castlevania angle.
Yes, I
That
love
was
Castle.
well done.
Well, yeah, and also too, like and people make it sound like that's a bad thing, but it was such a simple concept. Like this, I'm not saying it was easy to write, but it was like a simple concept. Like people, I don't think people can comprehend that. They're like, well, where's the pizzazz? Where's this and that? I'm like, what's wrong with the story as it is? You're chasing after a Dracula who's trying to, torment the world with chaos. Like it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah. I guess I never really thought about that, but there can be good stories told in the video games too.
Well, yeah, but let me ask you this. Do you think sometimes a story people can't think of a story that can just be so simple? Like, do you think it's hard for people to like conceive that anymore nowadays?
Simple is hard. Everybody wants to make everything harder than it should be.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that.
Like in writing, Ernest Hemingway used to go through his stuff to eliminate any words. He'd go over and over and over to eliminate any words he didn't think were necessary to be in there.
Yeah, like I don't know, because like I mean, you can not just in like storytelling, but you could probably say that in sports and anything. It just seems like people like just do something simple, don't complicate it. You know?
Yeah, we use a lot of that. That doesn't need to be in a story, any story, sports or whatever, most of the time.
Yeah, and sometimes like
The word that, you would never believe how clean your copy can be if you just take that word out.
yeah,
A lot of times you don't need it. Sometimes you do.
no, absolutely. And I would even also too like I don't know how often you read the dictionary, but a lot of people are like when they use words, they don't actually use them in the way it actually means in the dictionary.
I try not to use big words at all.
The only,
At,
the only
at all. My first year of writing, I went to a seminar and they said the average person reads at a seventh grade level or below. So write to the seventh grade level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to add to your point, I think if you want to sound like really smart and like how do I word maybe like a character that's supposed to be like I have this idea for a character who's supposed to be like highly intelligent, very well spoken. That's one thing. But like most people, like you said, most people, you know, not saying they're dumb or anything like that. It's just like, they don't pick up on like fancy words or anything like that. They prefer like, the average man, like the hero of stuff.
Yeah. Like I'll go back to Hemingway's How to Do It the Right Way. The Old Man in the Sea
Okay.
by Hemingway, which won him a Pulitzer Prize. The book was written, you know how we have that in Word now, there's that Fletch Kincaid reading that tells you what grade level you're writing at.
Yeah, yeah.
They put The Old Man in the Sea in it, and it was written at a third grade level. That's impressive to do for a whole book.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Even when I write my poems and stuff, I like sometimes I try to be, more fancy because I'm trying to impress people.
Yes, try to be cute. Like I've done it too, but it really doesn't need to be there in good writing. Technical writing is different.
Well, yeah, and like I said before, like if it's okay to be like fancy writing, especially if you have like a character that would, but like it has to be a character that it would make sense for. Like if you're gonna create a character that's very like flamboyant or very like highly intelligent, like a high IQ, like what's the term, Mensa level?
Yeah, Mensa.
Yeah, like that's one thing. But again, that's just for that character. Not everything has to try to sound intelligent.
Like Michael Crichton did that with Jurassic Park and Andromeda Strain. He had to write he had to write at a higher grade level because most of his characters was from the world of science and medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. And another one was yeah, have you ever heard of V for Vendetta?
Yes.
V was a highly intelligent guy. Like, and I'm not just talking about the movie. If you read the novels too, he was a highly intelligent guy. Not because he wanted to sound smarter than everybody. He just wanted to do things, to like get people to think.
Was that Alan Moore?
Yeah, Alan Moore.
Good
I
writer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the movie, even though he said like he didn't like how it turned out. But the books are just as good. I love the books. I highly recommend you read V for Vendetta because they are one of those things that like make you think. And sometimes I think you need to have that kind of character to like help put things in perspective.
Yeah, I think, and doing twists that nobody thinks about. I think one of the greatest things Alan Moore ever did was the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and the Watchmen. in particular, because The Watchmen was a simple premise that nobody had thought about before. What if superheroes aren't that good?
Yeah.
What if they aren't? What if they aren't that patriotic, loving everybody kind of person? What if they want power and they're pricks? It's a great idea.
Yeah, and also, and I would go even further than the Watchmen. Look at the boys. Everything's all corporatized and like sanitized, like everything's like made up. You know what I mean?
But yeah, but they got it from him.
Well, yeah, but I
The
mean, like,
premise was Alan Moore's, and yeah, his only problem is he writes too British for me. Otherwise, he'd be perfect.
I didn't know that was a qualification for you there, Brian.
Yeah, it's like too prim and proper, you know.
Yeah, like, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just like you said before, like, or like we talked about. Sometimes, like, more often than not, just keep it simple. Well, but I think it is nice. Like, I was actually talking about this with Kenny the other day. We were talking about like in like a lot of horror and mystery kind of stuff. There's a term called a red herring,
Yeah,
where, like, for those of you that don't know, a red herring is basically someone that looks like, if you look at the evidence, it makes perfect sense that that person's like guilty or the one that did it. But then they revealed who it was, and you're like, whoa, it isn't who I thought it was. And then when they explained what happened, they're like, oh wow, that actually does make sense now.
yeah. There's some things that bother me about the mystery novel, though. Like
Oh, really?
in a lot of them, yeah, you'll try to figure out who the killer is, and then like a 3/4 of the way through the book, they'll introduce a character that's the killer. I mean, just out of nowhere, and that ends up being the killer. I've read books like that. Pisses me off. Pisses me off.
Well, yeah, no, that's understandable too. But I think also, like, sometimes if you want to keep it simple, like, if you remember any of the Scooby Doo cartoons,
Yeah. How could I
usually
not?
it's a great show. But but I guess my point that I'm trying to make is that, I guess, if you want to try to keep it simple, like, usually the villain's the one they meet during the beginning of each episode.
Oh yeah, yeah. But there has been, and I've read them. They just introduce a character right at the end, and that's the killer, and it's like bullshit. Bullshit. Like
No,
the really best mystery. It's like so surprises, like Murder on the Orient Express, when everybody on the train except Perot was the killer.
that's a good twist right there.
They all took turns stabbing the guy that they didn't like. And he figured it out.
Yeah, but it's like one of the best twists ever. And you want to talk about twists and all that stuff. The Twilight Zone did a great job of doing that.
Rod Serling was a great writer.
And to be honest with you, I didn't recognize this till I did a blog post of one of my favorite shows as a kid called "Are You Afraid of the Dark?"
R.L. Stein.
No, that's Goosebumps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, "Are You Afraid of the Dark" was well, it was basically the an answer for Nickelodeon for Goosebumps, but "Are You Afraid of the Dark" was actually inspired, and some of they actually made like little nods to the Twilight Zone. I didn't know that.
Well, there was some damn good stories in the Twilight Zone.
No, absolutely. And you talk about twists and turns, they did a lot of them.
My favorite was the Howling Man.
Okay.
You remember that one?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, I do remember that one.
It's where the guy is hiking and the storm comes, and he comes to this monastery, and there's a guy locked up, and he keeps howling, saying they're keeping him prisoner, and they tell the monks tell him it's the devil, don't let him out, and he lets him out, and it's the devil. It was really good.
Well, I like I'm trying to it involves like these doctors are doing like some kind of like plastic surgery or something like that. And this one guy's like, "Oh, I'm ugly. Give me the mirror. Let me show your face." And they show him his face. And he's like, he looks completely normal. And then when you look at the doctors, they all look like pigs.
Yeah, I
I
remember
forget
that one.
I forget the name of that one, but that one was really good because I that was such a good swerve.
It was one that.
And actually, like going back to like the old school, I kind of miss some of the old school ways because it also showed like we talked about like human connection, contact, and all that stuff. I remember back in the day, and it was kind of like towards the end of it when I was growing up. But I remember like the newsstand thing where you would see these magazines. You would have a bunch of people like coming together like to make a magazine like their own little stories. Like you said about the Pulp Fiction stuff. Well, there's stuff like issues of like planet stories and all these different like comic books. I'm like, man, that would have been fun to do back in the day.
Yeah, it would have.
I mean, I guess
I don't know why more of it. I don't know. I guess people don't want to read anymore.
well, I'm surprised you don't see it happening at least more often nowadays, like with the internet. Like places like people can come together and create something there to write and create and read, but I don't even see that. And if I do, it's very rare.
What I said, a lot of people don't want to read anymore.
Do you think a lot of it's they're just not sure if like they should believe it or they just don't care anymore, or maybe both?
I don't know. It's a different time. I do think. Well, I've had people. Of course, I'm not going to name names. It's almost like they're bragging, saying they haven't read a book since they graduated from college.
Yeah, and that's weird to me because my twin brother and I we still like comic books. We go try to find like old classic stuff and also try to help support any like the independents. But it's just weird to me that like you said, people just stop reading, and I'm like, why? I mean, there still could be good stories even after you get out of school, you know?
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
don't. Do you think it's the mentality, and some of it's on the like I guess the professors, if you will, the teachers, not all of them, of course, but it just seems like they feel like they have this mindset now of like they know everything. They don't need to keep learning.
Could be that. Yeah, could be they just think they know enough now, and yeah, they don't want to learn anymore.
Or not that well, I mean, definitely there's probably some people think that they don't need to learn anymore, or there's people like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind learning, but like what'd be the point of it? You know?
I think if you're writing, you gotta always want to learn more.
Yeah, especially if you want to be like good in like different kind of genres, you know? Like it's just weird to me. Like I mean, I predominantly like to watch like to read like sci-fi, gothic horror, and like martial arts. But I don't mind every once in a while like a good comedy or like even a musical. Like oh, I can be like, oh, I watch a lot of Bruce Lee movies. How about we just watch like Phantom of the Opera or something? You know?
Yeah, I like a lot of different styles of movies too. Books. I read a lot of nonfiction more than I do fiction.
Yeah,
My
no,
my fiction tends to be sci-fi and horror.
Yeah, no, I liked it, and that's another thing too. Like, just like for say, I've been reading a little bit on this ancient like secret police and like in Japan called the Shinigami. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
I've been reading a lot about that, and I was like, because like it kind of reminded me of like here in America we have like the thing called the Second Amendment where like that you can form your own militia, and I just been reading into it, and I was just like, wow, like that's pretty cool too. And it's like I've just been reading it here on like the internet, and I'm like, wow, there's so much stuff on the internet that people can read, but they don't even seem to want to do that.
No, they don't.
Well, in a weird way, I kind of blame that on like today's journalism too. Like people just say something and then people just like take it as facts, and I'm like, well, hold on a second. It may not be.
It's just like anything. There's some that are good because they care.
No,
You got to
absolutely.
you got to care and love what you're doing as a writer to be good.
No, man. I mean, that's no, that's 100% true. And honestly, like, I'm trying not to be a Debbie Downer here when I say this, but it's almost like I've had moments where I'm like, doesn't anybody care? Like, why can't we just, like, be honest with ourselves, each other, God, like, why is everything just be like, oh, it's just like this, and then that's all it is, and just move on? I'm like, well, how do we know that's true? Or it's not true, but yet no one wants to do anything about it.
Right. Yeah. Like
I don't know. Maybe I'm just too nice or naive.
that's when I don't know. I really believe in that. It sounds cliched and all airy fairy, but I believe in that. You gotta love what you're doing. Writing is not easy. You gotta love it or don't even do it.
No, absolutely. Like if it's something you love, you gotta take care of it, and nourish it. And I think more and more people will like. I don't know. Do you think more people like if they're able to find what they're passionate about, they should like try to protect it at all cost?
Um, say that again.
Like you just you said about like being passionate about writing and all that stuff. It just feels like people may not know really what they're passionate about, and it's like if they ever like figure it out, they should try to protect it at all cost. Because it seems like especially what we talked about earlier with AI, it just seemed like people are like, what is there to be passionate about anymore?
Well, yeah, it's what I said. If you don't have the passion, don't do it. Not writing anyway.
Well, yeah, and it seemed like we said before, like because of machines and all that stuff, writing is kind of becoming like a lost art. But it's also like the whole idea of being connected to human beings seems to be becoming a lost art.
Yeah, yeah. In a way, it is. It's the world we live in right now. There's
Yeah,
so much. There's so much division between people, race, politics, everything.
yeah, and then, to be honest with you, I don't even know if a lot of I don't know, not to get all conspiracy theory, but it feels like people are just it's almost like someone planned it out to be that way. And that's just my humble opinion.
I don't know. I just there's a distance now. I know that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too because it's like you can't say something without somebody like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, it means this. And then you explain it and they're like, oh, okay. It's everyone's on edge, I guess. And it's like, I don't know. It's just again, it's weird coming from me who most of his life was sheltered, you know. But it just seems weird to me that nobody wants to like try to understand each other anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's some. It's not everybody, but a lot.
Yeah, no, true. But I think that's also one of the reasons why I like writing and storytelling and just art in general is because I always thought that could be something that could bring people together or at least relate to each other more.
Yeah.
Can't really do that with AI.
No, not really. It's a robotic thing, like I said.
Yeah,
Use
honestly,
it for use it for research and things like that, not for the creative process.
yeah, because it's important to have an imagination.
Yep, probably the most important thing.
No, amen to that. And going back to your short story, Carson, how much longer? You said who's working on your cover for your short story book?
I found of course, I can't remember the name. I found a company. I'm not a graphics guy. I found a company that looks good, has reasonable prices, and they're doing it.
That's that's awesome. How much longer do you think it'll be till you can publish your novel or your little short stories?
Very soon. I'm hoping to do it within before the holidays hit.
No, that's awesome, man. And I can't wait to see it. And please let me know when it comes out. It's the Echoes of the
Uh,
Vale.
Echoes from the Vale.
No, man, I'm happy for you, Carson. And, since we're getting close to November, that means Thanksgiving. I just want to say I'm thankful for you, and I'm hoping, praying that this book, works out for you. Again, I'll try to help you, promote it any way I can.
I mean, yeah, I want it to sell, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to cry about it. I just wanted to write it, and it felt good to get it out and to accomplish that.
No, I hear you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love for my stuff to sell and all that. But I think half the battle was just being able to like say, "Hey, we did it. We're a published author."
Yeah, the sales will be icing on the cake.
Oh, absolutely. He, but again, I can't wait for it to come out. Please keep us all updated on when you're coming out with the book, Carson.
I will. That the Angels of Ravensfield is going to be a wow. I still got some writing to do. Hopefully, sometime I'm thinking like the spring of next year, I'll be done with it.
Oh, maybe you can bring it out for the next horror season.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet. But I love the concept though, and again, like it's always good to hear from you, Carson. I hope and pray, nothing but the best for you and your family.
Thank you, buddy. The same to you.
No, thank you so much. And again, thank you for coming on again. Hopefully I will be hearing from you again soon. And to anybody that's watching, thank you all for watching. Love you all. God bless and be safe, everybody.